good job.
Yeah.
Oh, there's, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't mean to pimp you out, Kevin. It's Selena.
Hi.
Hello. Kevin's my cousin. Hooray.
That's my cousin.
But I would love to hear. Kevin has an amazing story about after September 11th when he volunteered downtown, and I would love for you to share the story. I don't mean to pimp you out. I'm sorry.
Okay. Totally pimped out.
We made this horribly awkward.
No, it's a funny story. It's a little, I don't know. The language is a little soft. No, everybody after the the event was trying to pitch in, and I called the volunteer number, and I said, what can I do? They said, well, we have all the tunnelers, we have all the diggers, we don't need any emergency work. They said, what we really need now are people to feed all the volunteers. Do you have any restaurant experience? And I said, well, I'm an actor. Of course I have restaurant experience. What do you need? And they said, well, we really need cooks. I said, I was a short order cook at one point when I was a Juilliard. They said, well, can you come down right now for the night shift? I said, I can be there in half an hour. So I went to a place called Nino's, which was a restaurant that they had commandeered downtown. It was just a couple of blocks from Ground Zero. And it was this really, it was very depressing that week, as you can imagine. And downtown was all still very smoky and musty and dusty. And there were these big, like, white Klieg lights all over the place, illuminating everything for the workers to work in. And there was still a lot of smoke. And these people would come into this restaurant streaming in, just covered with soot and dust and smoke. And we were producing amazing amounts of food out of this kitchen. And it was truckloads of food were coming down from the restaurants around town. And there were all these volunteers working in this kitchen, and I was doing the night shift. And they were long, like 12-hour shifts. And it was very sweaty and hot. And it was everybody was it was a very depressing week. And you couldn't hear a lot coming out of this huge dining hall except sort of murmurs. So about 4 or 5 nights into this, at this point, I am just dead tired. Everybody was dead tired. This guy next to me says, my day job is I'm an architect. He says, what's your day job? I said, I'm an actor. He said, yeah, but what kind? You do some special kind of acting. What kind of acting do you do? I said, well, I really do voice work. I work in animation. He said, I knew it! He said, I knew your name. You're Kevin Conroy. You're Batman. This is ground zero, right? He said, how did you know that? He said, everybody knows who's Batman. I said, no, believe me, everybody doesn't know that. He said, this is so cool. He said, can I tell the guys, can I tell them who's been cooking their dinners? I'm thinking this is a little frivolous, right?
Yeah.
For what we're dealing with, He says, no, this is so cool. So he goes out in the dining room and he goes, guys, and it gets really quiet. He goes, you're not going to believe who's been cooking your dinners. It's Batman! And there's this long pause and you hear, bullshit! And then someone else says, make him prove it! So I'm back in the kitchen, I think, oh, this is great. Someone I go, I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman! And there's this long pause and you hear, holy fuck! They all start clapping like that. They come running back into the kitchen. There's a steady stream of people. They're like, oh, you know that episode when you got the Joker and my kid and I went blah, 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 blah. And the laughing started up. And so the guy, the architect who had recognized me, says, how does it feel to be Santa Claus? And it's true. It was like being Santa Claus.
Awesome.
So
that is a great story.
Thank you.
Pete.
I was just wondering if maybe you could pretend like you were shot and then say, Alfred! Before we were joking earlier, did you know?
Yeah.
But after that story, really, it doesn't seem appropriate.
Okay, any more questions? You back there? So you said that
because you hadn't done animation stuff, you kind of stumbled into this. I mean, what do you think about, it keeps you coming back all this time? I mean, is it just paycheck? I mean, why do you stay with this character and with this format of acting? And what do you think of it looking back on it now? It's been 16 years.
That's a really interesting question. It's really been an education to me, because it was a whole other world to me. And it's a really interesting art form. I have this deal with Warner Brothers because they're ruthlessly cheap. And they wanted me to, I told Selena this earlier, they wanted me to do publicity appearances for the show when it first came on, to go to like Comic-Cons and stuff. And it's kind of part of your deal when you sign a contract that you give them one or two of those. You kind of got to do it. And I'm happy to do it because I like interacting with the audience, like this kind of thing. I just enjoy doing. They started taking advantage of the fact that I like doing it. And they started asking me to do that more frequently, knowing that I would just do it, and I was really comfortable with it, and I enjoyed it. And the audiences enjoyed me. So I realized that they were kind of taking advantage of me after a while. And I said, you should really be compensating me for this after, I'd done like half a dozen of these things. And they said, oh, no, Warner Bros. Doesn't do that. And I said, well, why don't you give me a cell? It doesn't cost you anything. And they said, well, those are very, very valuable. I said, yeah, but you got them sitting in balls. So they said, okay.
Oh, wow.
So then I said, well, how about 2 sets? So I started getting 2 cells per appearance. So I have an incredible collection of cells. And they got to the point where they let me go into the vault and sort of look around.
Oh!
Can you imagine? This is like a kid in a candy store. And this is for someone who didn't appreciate this at all. I mean, for you guys, it's crack, right?
We get chocolate all over those.
So you have them hanging in the...
I have a wonderful, and it was a good deal for them because they didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
Good deal for me because I got this result. But I have like signed Hanna-Barbera, and really incredible. Some Tweety, and all kinds of different.
Oh my
I got past the Batman stuff. They started being. But it was sort of got me exposed to the art form. The reason I tell you the story, I started getting into the art form of it and how beautiful it is. And some of these cells are gorgeous. It's a really interesting world. It's a very interesting world, the animation world. And it's become, look, Batman is the largest single franchise in Hollywood. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
The character is the biggest franchise character in Hollywood. And I am the voice.
You are cool.
All right, that's all the time we have for your questions, unfortunately.
Extra.
But a couple little plugs before we go. Next week we have Matt Liu on the show, as the creator of a book called Side Scrollers. That's awesome. You should definitely pick it up. Also, the Timony brothers, who are creators of Night Owls from Zuda Comics, which is a really fun series. So check that out. Also, you can check us out 3 times a week or more on pulpsecret.com. We've got all of our New York Comic Con footage up on there, so definitely check that out. There's a couple of people we want to thank. We want to thank Kevin for being on. New comics tomorrow. Check them out. Thank you guys. We're here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Please tell your friends. Good night.